G'day, guys. Welcome back to Stat Chat Sports. We're looking forward to week 3 of the Premier League this week. And in particularly, just the one game, our game of the week this week. Bit of a no-brainer. It's Manchester United versus Liverpool. It's not a derby. You can't call it a derby, but it is probably the biggest rivalry in English football and has been for the last 30, 40 years, I suppose. And we expect a fiery affair this time, Tazza.
Yeah, it's probably not in the circumstances that we both us as Liverpool supporters and United supporters thought it would be in. Obviously, a cumulative total of 2 points taken between the teams out of a possible 12. Not where we would have seen us, but look, nevertheless, it's always I said it last week, a cagey affair. That's what that turned out to be. I don't think it's going to be quite like that this week, but it's going to be a great game. And boy, do both teams need 3 points here. Just to salvage a little bit of, just
to get the season going.
Something from the,
to
kickstart the season, 100%, because both teams are just spluttering along. I mean, United just are giving up goals for fun, and Liverpool really just can't score them. So, yeah, a lot riding on this game.
So, last season, this fixture was heavily won by Liverpool. 5-0 win at Old Trafford, and then a 4-0 win at Anfield last year. United put up no fight in pre-season between the pair. United drummed Liverpool 4-0. That's pre-season. You make of that what you wish. But we're talking where it matters here. Obviously, United have had a terrible start to the season. We mentioned them in our video earlier in the week. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go back and have a listen to that, because probably myself in particular ripped United to shreds for their performance against Brentford.
Yeah.
So yeah,
rightly
so, absolutely. So it's going to be interesting. No matter the form that these two teams are in at the time of the fixture, it always has that feeling of the fact that it can go either way, because it's just that type of fixture. Liverpool, without Darwin Núñez, obviously he's just absolute brain fart of a moment against Crystal Palace, being sent off straight red card for a headbutt, which was that? That was just, I don't know what he's thinking. A lesson learnt, I would hope, from him. So if anything, that probably tips the scales or levels the scales, I suppose, towards United, having not to deal with a player like Darwin Núñez. I don't know, Firmino's out as well. Jota, I believe, is also out. So there's a void there at the moment for Liverpool. And I suppose on the end of United, we never know what's going to happen with Cristiano Ronaldo on any day. By the time at the time of recording this, I think it's about 8 days between now and then. So quite a big gap between fixtures, especially at this point of the season. Normally at the start of the season, the games come thick and fast, but by the time the game comes around, Ronaldo could not even be there. And you just never know what you're going to get. He might be on the bench, given he offered up very little last week. So it's very difficult to call at this stage.
Yeah, in regards to Núñez, I saw a tweet earlier saying if Núñez is going to do this kind of bullshit like Suarez did, he better start scoring like Suarez, because that's the only way he's going to endear himself to Liverpool supporters if he's going to carry on like an absolute brat.
Good point.
I mean, maybe I think it was Anderson. I think was the Crystal Palace. Yeah, he took a bit of a dive. Look, he wasn't. Núñez didn't drive his head straight through his bloody skull. He has taken a bit of a dive here, but nevertheless, if you're gonna motion like that expect a card of some sort. And Anderson sold it well.
We don't condone that type of behaviour, but he didn't help himself by he was quite literally drawing attention to himself from the referee because he must have wanted a free kick or a foul or something like that happened prior to that. So eyes are quite literally on him from the referee as he turns around and gives a little nod to Anderson. So it's not even like it was sort of done behind the referee's back and then a decision was made by VAR. He gave the referee no decision really.
Yeah, it was purely just a brain fade, and yeah, like you said, the referee had no choice but to give him a red, and fully deserved. And I mean, if there was any time that Liverpool needed to dip into the transfer market, I mean, they had to play Milner in midfield. This is a bloke who's on a 1-year contract, who's right at the end of his career. I mean, reinforcements are needed in midfield. You could argue whether they're needed in the attack, but they are 3 games into the season and possibly 3 attackers down. Obviously, it is match week 3. We're not going to go and race into spending $50 million on a striker, but there's got to be a solution. And the window's open for a couple more weeks. Someone in some sort of position, forward of defense, has to arrive. I just can't see how it doesn't happen.
Okay, so let's return our focus back to the actual game at hand.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I got way off there.
That's all right. It can happen. Have you got a tip for us? You got a pick for us this week?
I don't know. God. It's 50-50 for me. I'm so torn on it. I can see United just really conjuring up something and pulling it off, because I mean, Liverpool have looked so toothless, and without a recognised striker, or a pretty decent one, I'm not sure how successful they're going to be there. So I'm gonna call a draw. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. It'll be yeah. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, as boring as it might be, I think I might have to agree. Even with a full set of attackers over the last 2 weeks, Liverpool have really failed to hit that scoreline and hit the back of the net as commonly as they did last year. Likewise with United, they scored 1 goal. It's not quite good enough. So we can expect a low-scoring affair here, I think, and it could come down to mistakes by players on either end as a result of goals, because at the moment we're not seeing a lot of creativity out of both sides. So I think I might have to suggest a draw here as well.
Yeah, it looks the likely result.
Well, there's lots of United fans. There's plenty of Liverpool fans out there. There's going to be a lot of people tuning into this game. If you are in Australia, it's at an absolute shit of a time. For us over here in Perth, I think it's on like a Tuesday morning or something like that. So probably will not be watching it live. However, we'll be watching it at some stage. So we're looking forward to it. Definite game of the week this week, an easy pick. So we'll see what happens in the game. Moving on to the new segment on the channel, which is Unpopular Opinions. We kicked it off last week with a couple. Tazza, I believe you've got a few there as well for yourself. I've got one here as well. But do you want to kick us off?
Yep. Okay. So debatable whether this is an opinion or a conspiracy theory, but I've seen it floating around and I kind of agree with it. Romelu Lukaku to Chelsea and then back to Inter was a plan from Inter, who are in a bad financial position. What do you reckon?
Okay. Yeah, right. Okay, I see. Okay, so
they made basically
about 80 million or something like that for him.
Yeah,
and then they get him back on loan. Yeah. Look, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting one.
when you look at it and you think of Inter, and they have been in a dire financial situation,
even after winning the league.
Yeah. I mean, that's how bad it was. It's not out of the question that they would be pulling a move like this to me. So, I mean, how much merit there is, I don't know, but it all stacks up nicely.
Yeah, look, it does. The only sort of thing I suppose that can go against it is that no one really expected Lukaku to flop at Chelsea a second time as badly as he probably did. If he has a decent season, he's
that was
still
on
there.
him.
That's true.
So you're
saying Lukaku was part of the plan as well.
He's a double agent, mate. He's a secret agent. 100%. He's part of the plan.
To the bot. It goes right to the top. It goes right to the top. Lukaku's involved as well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, mate. Right. Yeah. They were paid him a fair. I'm sure there was a little kickback on the side. You just have a terrible season in London, and you come back, and it'll be all good.
That's a very interesting call. That's a very interesting call. we might be changing this segment to conspiracy theories. All right.
I got no arguments with that.
Now, much topic of discussion here for this particular one. This was a tweet from a Leicester fan, keep in mind. But nonetheless, it has Vardy has a better Premier League legacy than Didier Drogba and Harry Kane.
Nah.
Now, right off the bat, no way. I'm not sure how this one, how my man's has come up with this one. Against Harry Kane, Jamie Vardy's one up on him. He's got a Premier League title. Harry Kane's got something, hundreds of more goals. And
Harry Kane's pushing Shearer for the top, basically.
Yeah. And to even put him in, to put Vardy in the same bracket as Didier Drogba, I think he could have been on a little bit of smoke there. I think from
that's the one that gets me.
Yeah,
is Drogba. I mean, I've never been a huge Chelsea fan, but you can't ignore what Drogba did for that club. He just did so much for him, and he was an absolute gun. I mean, he's got the medals to prove it. So, that holds absolutely no weight. But I do love Vardy. I reckon he's a great player too, and what he did with Leicester was obviously absolutely wild. So, I just agree to disagree on that one.
It fits the setting of an unpopular opinion. He's probably the only bloke in the world with that opinion. So, fair play to him.
I think so.
All right.
All right. My last one. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but looking at the stats, it's probably not a bad shout. Bayern function better now without Robert Lewandowski.
Oh, wow. Sheesh. I mean,
there's 13 goals in 3 games since he left.
Okay. Now I know we're talking about Lewandowski here, but let's just talk about Bayern real quick as a whole and the Bundesliga as a whole. Where's the competition in that league at the moment? Where is the there isn't none. You can make a discussion and an argument for Dortmund, but that's it. And Dortmund can't compete with
maybe Leipzig to an extent.
A few teams maybe to an extent, but it goes no further than that. Bayern will win the league again this season, I think, and I think they would have done it with or without Lewandowski anyway.
Yeah, I just think there's less of a reliance on Lewandowski now. You look at the spread of scoring. Musiala scored in every single competitive game that they've played. Mane scored twice. Pavard scored twice. There's a name that escapes me. And Gnabry scored twice. Sane and Kimmich are the other scorers. The spread of scoring in that team, I think it may not be that they're better without him, but it's more of a team rather than a reliance on Lewandowski, which I think in the long run is so much better for Bayern, and it obviously makes them more versatile.
Yeah, I can understand that point, and yeah, like I said, I probably wouldn't necessarily say that they are better off or function better without him, but yeah, like you said, being able to get that spread of goals around the rest of the team will help them. And I mean, top of my head, I don't have his goal tally in front of me, but I believe he's the all-time leading goal scorer in the Bundesliga. So one would think losing that type of player would damage them. But there's no competition in that league. So I don't see it making a huge difference. That's going to wrap up today's video. As always, we recommend you leaving any unpopular opinions that you've got in the comments if you want to have them brought up on the podcast. Otherwise, Tazza and I will continue to find and bring up our own as well. So thanks for joining us. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below on any discussions that we've had today. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you all next week for the regular podcast. Cheers, guys.